I'm Harvey Godwin. I'm chairman of the Lumbee tribe. We're happy to be here today, and let me just expound on that. I'm proud to be the chairman of the Lumbee tribe. I'm in the middle of my first term, and this is a dream of ours we've been working on for a year, that we'll be able to put on a presentation here of the Lumbee people here at the National Museum of the American Indian. Those of you that are visitors today, please visit our artisans' booths, authentic crafts by the Lumbee people. And also for lunch, the cafeteria, the restaurant, is Lumbee cuisine, which I think you'll find very fulfilling, but also very tasty, and maybe some things you've never seen or eaten before. So I welcome you to go there. At this time, before we get started with our culture presentation, I'd like to recognize a person in the audience. That's Mr. Jimmy Hammonds. If you would come up for just 1 minute, please. I said Mr., but he's actually Reverend Jimmy Hammonds, and he's a tribal employee back at our tribal headquarters in Pembroke, North Carolina. And he came on about a year ago. It's almost a year now. But he works in the housing department, and he looks after our community buildings. We have the Lumbee tribe owns $63 million in community buildings and housing for elderly and single-family homes and other properties. But he takes good care of our elders and those projects and our people. But most importantly, part of our Lumbee tradition, which is very multifaceted and diverse, he has prayer with our employees Monday and Friday, the ones that are willing. And it's made a big difference in our operations, but it's made more difference in the spirit and the culture of our employees. And I just want to honor you today, my friend. I got these specially made by Sinead's Jewelers over there. Lumbee tribe cufflinks. If you don't have a cuff shirt, I'll get you one.
Glad to be here today. I just wanted to go in when my friend become chief and to go in and help him in some way with what he was doing with his endeavors of helping our people. And as I got there, I found out that we had a problem. He asked me, what's the biggest problem you see we got? I said, communication. And we're going to start communicating with one another a little better. And before we can do that with one another, we had to start communicating with God a little more, each and every one of us. So we started voluntarily praying together on Friday morning. And some of the ladies and gentlemen said, let's do it on Monday morning, start the week out right. So we start on Monday and Friday. And it's a joy and a privilege to be a part of the Lumbee tribe, because it's a group of people. I found out riding by the turtle, you don't know who's working there just looking at the building. And I'm from Robeson County. But I go in and I find out there's grandmothers in there, there's fathers, there's mothers, there's people who care about their children and their people. And I'm proud to be there. I only work part-time, but I'm glad to help in any way I can. And it's good to be able to go into a place and the leader will say, if you want to pray, if they want to pray with you and you want to pray with them, it's all right with me. Well, when you let the Lord in the building, then everything else will be all right. But when you keep the Lord out of the building, then you're going to have problems. That's why we have to have guns and laws and everybody in our schools today, because we kick God out and let the devil in.
Thank you, preacher. I'd also like to recognize our PR staff, Ed Ricker and Jeannie Lowry and Matt Davenport, for the fine job they're doing videotaping and taking pictures here this week. You know, when it comes to culture, like I said, our culture is very diverse, but our traditional culture is very important to the Lumbee people, and especially to our youth and our elders. And for the last 18 months, I think we've come a long way with our culture, bringing more of our tribal members engaged into our culture. And we have 3 men, young men, that have helped us do that. And one, if you'll see here in just a minute, is Kale Little Turtle. But also John the Stick Boy Oxendine and Reggie Brewer. I want to thank them for everything they do. You know, with tribes, there's over 500 tribes in America, fairly recognized tribes. And the tribal governments are at odds a lot of times, where you'll read where tribes are kind of warring with each other or bickering with each other over this or that. But they're down at the other level, at the cultural level. the tribal governments may be bickering, but the culture people are like this. And they're dancing together, they're singing together, they're sharing each other's songs and dance and learning each other's songs and dance and communicating and getting married and having children together intertribally. And that's what's important, because in my mind, and I think that the cultures have to drive the government, not the tribal governments drive the culture. So I think we're seeing a movement in that now where the cultures are coming together and they're saying to the tribal government, hey, listen, this is what's important. The people are important and the spirit of the people. And when we enhance that, then the tribal governments will learn how to react with each other better. Even with the United States of America, with the government-to-government relationship, even as a tribal government relating to the United States government in a sovereign way, if our culture is intact, then we're going to have the United States, when we go to the table, they'll see that when we have negotiations and we have talks, that it comes from our spirit and our heart, and what we're doing is on the best interests of our people, and not just the Indian people, but all the people of the United States of America. So with that, I want to introduce a young man, multi-generational. His father, his grandfather, his great-grandfather were all traditionalists, and he's carried that path in his walk now, and he's a great leader amongst not just our young people, but all people. He's like a 65-year-old wise person in a 25-year-old body. I want to welcome Kid Little Turtle.
Hello. Do I have any Lumbees in here? Oh, yeah. They can tell we're in D.C., can't they? We've come a long way as a people. So first and foremost, I want to give you a quick introduction of who the Lumbee people are before we start our songs and dances. So as a Lumbee, we come from multiple different tribes. We come from Siouan-speaking tribes, Algonquin-speaking tribes, and Iroquois-speaking tribes. And we banded together for survival. There was many wars that were going on. There was disease. There was colonial encroachment upon our tribal territories. And we had to come together to survive. So when you think Lumbee, the very first thing that you should think about is unity. It was that unity that has kept us around for as long as we've been around, and is what's going to keep us around going into the future. So because of all that awesome background, we have a very, very rich history, a very, very rich culture, a lot of songs and dances and ways of being that we do our best to respect and honor and continue to teach on. So, as is customary, especially in the East for a matrilineal society, we always honor our women first. We're going to bring the women up first to do the seed planting dance. This is a really, really, really important dance. This dance was done from North Carolina all the way up to New York. Women have a very special responsibility in creation. They carry life in them. And this dance helps them to be able to connect to that and represent that as indigenous women. You're going to see them shuffling their feet and they're planting seeds. And those seeds represent a lot of different things. It's their responsibility. It's their responsibility to make sure those seeds grow because they carry those seeds. And so this is a dance that's really, really beautiful. There's a lot of beautiful songs that go along with this dance, and this is how we wanted to start the program for you all here today. right, if I can ask my ladies to stay out there right quick. I'm going to give y'all a quick introduction. I'm going to tell y'all a secret. Behind every strong Lumbee man is a strong Lumbee woman, right? All right, so this is my better half. This is Satara. And so she has been powwowing and going to ceremonies and participating in this for a long time, all of her life. She comes from a very culturally solid family who's also been doing it for a very, very, very long time. And so she continues it on. And me and her both raised our daughter in these ways, and we're really proud of that. So thank you. Let's give Satara a round of applause. This is Stevie Lowry. She is a daughter of Norma Jean Locklear. A couple of y'all might know her. Norma Jean has definitely been powwowing for a very, very long time, goes all up and down the East Coast, across the United States as a vendor. Stevie has grown up in her culture, going to powwow. She comes from a really strong cultural family. She has a fantastic grandmother who carries a lot of awesome knowledge with her. And she was also part of our culture class at the Boys and Girls Club. So let's give Stevie a round of applause. This is Riley. Riley is, has a fantastic personality. I always brag about the way she conducts herself. She's always smiling. She always has a good attitude, and she goes to all of her performances with us. She comes out to the coach class, and she helps to keep the rest of the people her age engaged in this culture. So let's give Riley a round of applause. This is Sienna. This is Miss Nickneo. And she has a very, very important job because she has the responsibility of representing all the different indigenous youth in the state of North Carolina. And she does a fantastic, fantastic job of this. So she travels all the time. She's going to coach class. She's going to powwow. She's going everywhere representing our awesome people here in North Carolina. So let's give her a round of applause. This is Sierra Mullen. Sierra Mullen has grown up. I've known her since she was born. She's always went to the powwows, comes out to the coach class, continues to help. She's part of the Boys and Girls Club. Day before yesterday, she was doing the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. There was a laying of the wreath, and she was able to participate in that, which was a historic moment for the Lumbee tribe. And so she does a lot to represent us on many different levels. Let's give her a round of applause. This is Taylor Mullen. This is her sister. And also, she has been powwowing her entire life, comes from a really awesome, strong cultural family. She's part of our Boys and Girls Club and does a lot of our culture classes to help keep the youth involved. So let's give her a round of applause. This is Malia. This is Teen Miss Lumbee. She's one of our ambassadors. She's very, very multi-talented, an amazing singer, an amazing spokesperson for our people, and an amazing example of young indigenous youth. So let's give her a round of applause. This is Madison Davenport. This is our Miss Lumbee. So she goes out all the time, has a very, very busy schedule along with the rest of our ambassadors. Really, really happy to have her here. And she's, once again, multi-talented, just like Malia. They're constantly on the road, going out, representing our people, and they do a fantastic job. Let's give her a round of applause. And over here we have Miss Betty. You want to stand up right quick? This is Miss Betty. This is our Miss North Carolina Indian Senior Citizen. And so she comes out to our culture class. She does so much in our community, constantly traveling. It's important to have our elders because without our elders, we wouldn't have anything. They're the reason why we are where we're at today. So let's give her a big round of applause, Miss Betty. Thank you. So also we have Miss Sherry Carter here, who is our senior Miss Lumbee. She's in the back over there. And so she also comes out to our culture class, and she does a lot for our people. She's a very, very, very busy woman, talented singer. Let's give her a big round of applause, y'all. Thank you. I'm gonna be seated.
Hello, everyone. As he said, my name is Madison Davenport, and I am your reigning Miss Lumbee. And beside me is my teen Miss Lumbee, Malia Hunt. And I'm just going to explain to you a little bit about our Lumbee Regalia. So in the 1800s, European settlers came in contact with our Lumbee ancestors. And that is why we developed their style dress, so the full-length dress with the work apron. And in 1993, Miss Natasha Tilson Wagner decided to run for Miss Indian USA. And she wanted to have something that symbolized the Lumbee people. So with the help of Miss Cat Little Turtle and Mr. Hayes Allen Loudclear, we had the Lumbee Pinecone Patchwork. And because we are the people of the pines, if you were to flip over a bottom of a pine cone, you will see this design. And as you can see, we have a little bit more than a pine cone patchwork and an apron. Each regalia is supposed to symbolize that one woman or girl who wears it. And I'm going to have Malia to explain hers.
Hello everyone, my name is Malia Hunt, and today I'm going to talk about my regalia. My regalia is a replica of the Lumbee warriors and what they stand for and what they have fought for our country. Being in Washington, D.C. with my wonderful regalia, it's amazing to show it to you guys and show you what it means to me. Well, basically it has the colors of the flag, which is red, white, and blue, and on the bottom it has all of the seals of every branch in the military, along with our Lumbee tribal symbol, which is very important to us. And I do this in honor of my Uncle Dwayne, who passed last year due to a heart attack, and he was a member of our military. He was in the Air Force branch. And I chose to do this regalia in honor of him. Thank you.
And my regalia specifically is created to represent the Lumbee people. As you can see, I have the pine trees as well as the Lumber River on my regalia and a pine cone on the side. And the dark tones represent the waters and the trees and the Lumbee lands. And it is my goal as Miss Lumbee this year to bring back the work dress, where it was simply a pine cone patchwork, an apron, and a dark tone dress. Because the women of our community and of the Lumbee people are not described by what they wear. They are described because they have the beauty of a woman of ferocious tenacity. And we have carried that trait since the 1800s and even back to the 1700s. So thank you for having us here and enjoy Lumbee Days. Thank you.
All right. Let's give Madison and Malia another round of applause, y'all. They did a fantastic job. So now we're going to bring our men out. We're going to showcase the war dance. There's many different tribes and there's many different villages all across our territories. North Carolina was full of different tribes and villages. And whenever somebody from a tribe would go and visit somebody else's tribe, they'd be greeted with a war dance. And I'll explain to you really fast why. When they would go and they would dance that war dance for their visitors, they were showing them they could either be a great ally or a great enemy. They were showing them their exploits, their accomplishments, how strong they were as a people. And so when you think about old dancing, this is probably what you have in your mind. This is a great style of dance. It's really important for us to keep those old dances and not lose those, because, you know, a lot of natives were very close to losing. They were very close to losing so much. Their songs and dances and their languages, a lot of it was being held down. And so now we're able to reclaim these things and bring these things back, and we don't have to do it in secret anymore. We can go out and celebrate and be proud. And so now we want to showcase for you the old war dance. You're going to hear a lot of war cries, a lot of different different moves they're doing to symbolize them being in battle. It tells a very, very awesome story. I tell them it always gets me real pumped up when I see that. I'm like, yeah, yes. I love it. So next, we're going to showcase kind of how that war dance has evolved a little bit. How many of y'all has ever been to a powwow? Any of y'all ever been to a powwow? I'm sure if you haven't been to a powwow, you've heard of a powwow. And so powwows are these big, awesome, intertribal celebrations where many different indigenous people come together and celebrate their identity. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Well, we wanted to have our presence as woodland people in powwows. Kind of similar to how Madison and them were talking about how that pine cone patchwork dress was able to represent us on different levels and show us as Lumbee people, show us as Southeastern people. It's the same way with this woodland dance getting incorporated into powwow. It's where we could wear our clothes, we could wear our headdresses and sing our songs and be able to represent ourselves adequately in the powwows. And so this is more of like an evolution of our old war dances. And we're very, very, very proud of this. A lot of our youth is participating in these dances now. A lot of our elders is participating in these dances now. And so it's fantastic to see the multi-generational cultural rejuvenation and strength that's coming out of our woodland people. So this is going to be a really fun, fast, energetic dance. I really think y'all is going to enjoy it. This is going to be the Eastern Woodland Dance. Y'all like that? Let's give them a round of applause one more time, y'all. I'm so proud of those young men, so proud of those young women. Would none of this be possible without them? So for them to be able to come and share this is great. I'm going to give John a second to catch his breath. That's my big brother over there, y'all. He's going to come and showcase our different flutes that are connected to us as Southeastern people. He's done a lot for his people. He was one of the people that helped to establish the cultural program through the Boys and Girls Club. He's been working for his tribe, been working for his people, been an advocate for his people for a very, very, very long time. He has literally put blood, sweat, and tears to be able to see something like this happen today. There's a lot, and me and him was kind of talking about it. There's a lot of things that's kind of full circle now. You know, there's really no way to kind of describe this feeling Like what the chairman was talking about, you know, I come from a multi-generational cultural family. My great-grandfather, my grandfather, my father, and they fought very, very hard for our people to be able to be on such a high platform now, be able to celebrate us being Lumbee and our culture and our songs and dances and our identity here in Washington, D.C. And so this is a huge feeling of pride for us. It's very humbling, and it's just a deep feeling of accomplishment. So, but here's John, and he's going to talk about the flute for y'all.
All right. Glad I get to come today and just share with y'all a little bit more of our culture, who we are as East Coast natives, as Lumbee people. And again, I'm going to be playing the American Indian courting flute, or as my grandpa liked to say, the courting flute, because he would play to try to get the girls to like him. So that's one thing he did with it. But the flute I have in my hand is actually the flute that is traditional to us as Lumbee people. There's all types of flutes today that you can get that's machine made and all that good things, but this flute itself is actually just for Lumbee people. Now, this is a handmade flute, and basically what it is it's called a river cane. Now, it looks like bamboo, but bamboo wasn't originally here. It was brought over here, and bamboo goes really, really fast. This goes really slow, so it takes about 30 years for a piece to get about this big. So river canes grow really slow. Now, the smaller the flute, the higher the pitch is. So you'll hear the different sounds of the flutes, because I have a couple of different I'm going to play for you today. But this flute is just for Lumbee, well, really not just Lumbee people. It's actually for a lot of East Coast tribes played the same flute. But with us, the music that you hear from that artist or that flutist, we believe that the Creator, God, gives us that music. There's really no sheet music for it. We can't look at sheet music and play off of it. The songs you hear is made by that person, and we believe God gives them to us. And the way we keep this going is that you are gifted a flute. And when you get one, they teach you the beginning steps on how to play, how to hold it, how to put it in your hands. And then it's between you and God whether you can write your own music or not. And if you can, then you become a flutist. And what you do is you give someone else a flute and you teach them what was taught to you. And that's how it just keeps going. For instance, Kia's father actually gave me my first flute and taught me the beginning steps of being a flute. And then he says, go write your own music, go do your own thing. And then it went from there, and I've been playing ever since. So that's basically how it is passed down and how you do it. Now, the way it's made is you have a groove in the river cane, which is right here. There's a groove right here. And there's another piece here, and it goes on. But in between the grooves, you put your holes on one end. Where the groove is, you've got two holes on each sides of the groove. And then you put your tuner on top, and that's how you get your sound. And when you move it back and forth, it gives you different sounds, or that's how you tune it. So it's really not hard to make. Once you make one, it's pretty simple to do. So this just lets you know how inventive our people was, or how smart they was, how they could use their hands, how they could make things. Because you would never know, someone had to sit and think about how to make this. Back then, it wasn't, you can go down to the hardware store and buy all the tools and then go make it. They had to sit and really think about how to get sound out of this. And we believe as Native people that's another thing that the Creator, God, gave them the ability to be able to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and play and let you hear what this sounds like. That's basically how our flute sounds. So now I'm going to tell you a little story about the flute and how it came in existence, one of the old legends that we have back home, and what we tell our kids, and some of the legends and stories that we keep going on and keep passing down is the flute was actually a love story. And basically, it was, like I told you earlier, my grandpa liked to play so he could get the females or get the girls to like him. And that's basically how the story goes. So in a tribe, back home, we live in wigwams and longhouses. We didn't live in teepees. So we're a little different than West Coast natives because we're East Coast natives, and those are things we lived in. So there was a young man. He was in his longhouse one day, and he knew this girl in the village. He really liked her, and he was trying to figure out how to get her to pay him attention. And he was like, what can I do? So being the smart young man he is, he goes to his grandmother. He says, Grandmother, tell me what to do to get this girl to like me. She says, well, I'm going to make you a warrior shirt. You just became aged to be a warrior, and now you are a warrior, so we're going to make you a really nice warrior shirt that you can walk through the village, and she's got to be able to see you. She's got to pay you attention. So she makes it. He puts it on. It's really nice. Got fringe, colors. It's beaded. It's top of the line. So he's walking through the village. He's strutting because he knows he's the man. He's got this nice new shirt on. And everybody's like, man, I love it. It looks great. That's an awesome shirt. And so he sees her coming. He's walking straight towards her. And guess what she does? The same thing most women do. They turn around and walk the other way or walk right by him. And he's like, what do I do? She didn't even see me. I got this on and she didn't see me. He's like, man. So then he goes to his uncle. He's like, Uncle, please tell me how to get this girl to like me. He says, I know I need some secrets. Help me out. He says, I tell you what. I'm going to put you on the fastest horse I got, and you're going to ride right through the middle of the village as fast as you can. Everybody's got to see you then. He thought about that thing, and he was like, you know what? That might not be a good idea, but you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. So he gets on the horse, and he cuts out through the middle of the village. There's baskets flying, people diving out the way, longhouses falling down, and he is just making a mess of everything, but he's riding through the middle of the village. Everybody sees him, and then she sees a big old cloud of dust coming, and she's almost there, and guess what happens? You done it before, ain't you? Turns and go the other way. Don't even pay him attention. I said, man. Well, he was like, you know what? I can't even believe that. So everybody's mad at him. He's like, what do I do? Everybody in the village is mad at me. I made a mess. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to go on down by the river, and I'm going to just get away from everybody, and I'm just going to relax and try to let this blow over. Because when you get in trouble at home, best thing to do is just be quiet and let it blow over so they can forget about it. So he goes down by the river, and he's just relaxing. And back home, we have these trees, or willow trees. They're really big, and the branches hang all the way down to the ground, so it gives off really good shade. So he's like, you know what, I'm going to just sit up under this willow tree by the river, and I'm just going to relax and just chill out. Well, when he done that, he fell asleep. And when he fell asleep, he had a dream. And in his dream, a beaver comes up out of the river and gnaws a branch out of the tree about yay long. And then a woodpecker comes down and flies on top of that branch and starts pecking holes in the top. And then after that happens, a songbird flies down and lands on top of that stick and gives that stick its song. And without that song, the songbird flies to heaven because it can't live here on earth without its song. So that's where the music comes from, is from the birds, is from the songs that the birds give us. And so he wakes up from his dream, and sure enough, laying right beside him was that stick that the beaver gnawed off, the woodpecker poked holes in, and the songbird gave him a song. Now, in his dream, God gave him the instructions on how to play. So he woke up and he's like, you know what? I have this stick, and for some reason, I know what to do with it. So he puts it to his mouth, and he begins to play. And that sound comes out. So what do you think he done? He went to his grandma's house and showed grandma. No, he went to his uncle's house and showed his uncle. That's what he done. No, he actually went straight to her lodge and started playing in front of her lodge. And when he did, it sounded just a little like this. And she heard it, and she had never heard that music before, because it was the first time it was ever made. And she runs out the lodge and like, what's that? And she sees him, and they fall in love, they get married, and they live happily ever after. So that is the story on how I got my wife to fall in love with me. So even though she's in another room doing something else, but that's how I got her to fall in love with me, was by playing the flute to her. So that's basically what this one sounds like. I'm gonna play 2 more for you, and I'm gonna get out of your way and let you hear what a more modern flute sounds like. And this one is it's actually a drone. There's 2 flutes into one. Again, they're machine made, so you can add all kind of things to them the way you do today. And you notice the story I told you earlier about the bird flying on top? Every big flute like this, the tuner on it looks like a bird, because we always want to respect that story and the legend behind how this was made. So these are always look like birds when you're playing them. So this one will have one continuous sound with it, and it'll harmonize with the other half, so you can hear the 2 sounds. And if you notice, this one will be a little more lower than what we just heard, and then the last one I play will be really low, so you'll hear the dynamics of the flute. So I'll go ahead and let you hear what this sounds like. So that is a drone flute, and that's what that sounds like. And this one actually is also a drone. If you notice, I kind of like them. So, but this is deeper, and it has a deeper sound to it. But it also harmonizes with each other. And if you notice, the birds are on top of this one too. And this is basically what it sounds like. So you are small river cane all the way up to this. The bigger they get, the deeper the sound is that you hear. So I'll go ahead and play this one, let you hear it. And basically that is the flute in a nutshell. And if you notice, you can actually add songs to it. You have to play by ear, so you can add music to it. And if you notice, the last part was Amazing Grace. just to let you know, that's one thing we play back at home in our churches. Because with being Lumbee, we're also, Christianity is part of who we are, is part of our culture. And we always want to promote God in every thing that I can do. And that's one way I love to do it, is to play flutes at church and at home. So that is American Indian Courting Flute. And I hope you enjoyed it.
Let's give John another round of applause, y'all. I love that drone flute. I hear it all the time, and it never gets old. I'm sitting there just like, man, I can meditate to that. Sounds great. All right, so we've done a lot of singing and dancing, and now comes the audience participation part of the program. This is how we're going to end it. We're going to end it with a friendship dance, a round dance. And so I'm going to ask my dancers to come out and just pick a couple of people from the audience, and we're going to make a big circle. There's nothing to be scared of. It's not going to be complicated or anything like that. I promise I would never want to take you outside your comfort zone, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to make a big circle, y'all. All right. So, a couple of quick rules to this dance. I'm going to jump here on stage so I'm not in y'all's way. So, first and foremost, the most important aspect of this dance is you got to keep holding hands. If you let go of the hands, the magic's gone, and it's just going to be a big mess. So, there's going to come a period of time where Stevie, who's going to be leading this dance, is going to let go of Nikaya's hand, and she's going to turn this into a snake dance. But don't panic, it's fine. All you got to continue to do is hold hands. And then she's going to bring it back around and going to make a big circle again. And then when that happens at the end of the song, y'all's going to run to the middle and scream as loud as you can, all right? There you go, Miss Barbara. You're going to run and scream as loud as you can. There you go. Miss Barbara is one of our tribal council people, so she does a fantastic job for our tribe. Really happy she's up and participating in the round dance with us. For the little kids and everybody else, just don't pull on each other's arms or anything. You know, it might get a little bit tight going around, but just, you know, be all right and don't yank on anybody because we don't want anybody to fall down or anything like that. So we're going to have a good time, and here is going to be the friendship dance. When we come together in this circle, it means we're all family. That means we're all friends and family together because this represents the circle of life. So this means we're all connected now. All right, here we go. All right, let's feel it out. Here we go. There you go. Y'all got it. There you go. Good job. Here we go. See, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it, y'all? That wasn't too bad. Y'all did a fantastic job. So that concludes our cultural presentation.